All right, welcome to Youth Central Sports. I'm Charles Morse, where we come to you every Wednesday at 11 p.m. And we've been here now. You know what? I got to check and see exactly how long we've been doing Youth Central Sports. You know, we started out on radio a while back, and then Vince Carter, who actually has been out for the past 3 weeks, is back with us this week. He tore some tendons in his knee, had surgery, and so he's been out, and so excited to have him back. And we're here at www.thejourney2020.com, where we're here at 11 o'clock every Wednesday, talking sports, talking about Little League. We talk about high school, middle school, college, and pros. So that's what we do here at Youth Central Sports. And if at some point, I think next week, we're going to get more involved in the Facebook. We're on Twitter, we're on Periscope, Instagram, and so on and so forth. So you make sure that you check us out. And Vince, how you doing?
I'm moving pretty along at pretty much as a rapid rate right now. So we'll see how that goes. But very humbling. And I've gotten a lot of sympathy from a lot of people. A lot of people think I've had knee surgery, which technically is not knee. It's that quad patella that's attached to the knee and the quad and the thigh. They kind of, I ruptured them apart, so they had to put them back. So now we got to wake that whole muscle back up and got to get everybody awake and back to functioning. It's been it's been interesting. It's definitely been interesting. And I've learned a lot. And it's interesting, too, because a lot of the exercises that I've done before from a personal standpoint, conditioning and warm-up exercise that I've taken the team through, I am now doing some of the same thing in a recovery process. So it assures me that I'm on the right track as far as keeping them injury-free as much as it's helping me to recover. So, that was an eye-opening thing for me because, and these are exercises I used to kill. I mean, those were warm-up exercises for me before I got into the real stuff. Man, I'm sweating so bad that one day, and I was just struggling. And the guy was asking me, he said, "You all right?" I said, "Man, I used to do this stuff with my eyes closed." But it's been good. I've been blessed. I got to say that I've been blessed.
All right, I think I figured out the audio problems. Can you hear me on the computer now?
Hold on, just remember, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me on the
Yes,
computer
I can
now?
hear you now. Yep, I can
Okay,
hear you.
okay. I figured out actually was something that I did on this end. So yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we good now. All right. All right. Again, welcome to Youth Central Sports. I'm Charles Morris. Happy to be here with you on this Wednesday evening, where we come to you every Wednesday at 11 p.m. And we're talking with Coach Carter. Coach is, as he was giving us an update on what had happened, where he is coming off some surgery. And of course, I've been saying, we've been wishing you well and
Yeah,
everything, and been
appreciate that.
talking to you. You need to give us an update. I did talk with you last week, but you need to give us an update on what happened with the basketball team this past season.
We were very fortunate that we finished the season 25-7. We won our district, and we got to the regional playoffs or finals, and we lost in the regional finals. Uh, Really, when you look at it, I mean, last year we went to the state. We got to the state, and this year we were actually one game away, but still had a great season. I had another group of kids that came along and bought it. I mean, we were rolling right along. We stumbled mid-season. We were undefeated for about 12 games. And then we ran across our rivals and we had some good games there. But overall, a very good season. I'm very excited about, a little disappointed. We thought we would get to state, but we'll take 25-7 and district champions any day of the week. And then now we're in preparation now to start for the next year, start a summer program, which technically has already started, open
Okay.
gym and that kind of thing. And then we'll be doing our summer program in June.
Okay, well, we definitely got a lot to talk about because, since the past 3 weeks, there's been so much going on in sports. Uh, I mean, I've been talking about March Madness, which I know
Yeah,
you, because I call you
I've been
Sunday.
there.
I call
Yeah.
you Sunday after that Duke game, so we talked for about 30 minutes. But let's
Yeah.
go back to the 68. Okay, let's start from the 68 to now we have the Final Four. I even talked about the women Final Four. I even covered the NIT because I'm an NIT guy as well. Okay, so we
Okay.
now have the Final
Yeah,
Four.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, um, well,
NIT side.
right. So,
Hmm.
how shocked were you that a 16 beat that Virginia?
Particularly, okay, without a shadow of a doubt, I was shocked. I had actually fallen asleep on part of the game
Uh huh.
because in my mind, Virginia, the way Virginia had been playing and had played all year, being the overall number one, and my respect for the Virginia program, I felt like, okay, this is not that exciting, and I nodded off, and I woke up and kind of peeked at the score, and they were down. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I started watching, and I was sitting there and say, history is unfolding right in front of my eyes. Who would have believed of that particular team? Overall number one team playing at the high level of basketball, winning and got knocked off. I mean, made history right there in front of my eyes. I'm sure I'm no different than everybody else. I was absolutely flabbergasted. I didn't know what to think, other than congratulations to the 16 seed team, but golly, I mean, I just wouldn't have believed that. I was kind of thinking Virginia had an outside shot to win the thing from the way they were playing.
You know, the funny thing though is because I know that you're a North Carolina fan, and
Absolutely.
it was Texas A&M, right? It was Texas A&M, right?
Right, right.
Right. And
A&M.
I was going, will somebody remind North Carolina and Texas A&M that it's basketball season and not football season? That's normally what I would expect if it was football season. But
Yeah.
then they went on to play a game, and then they reminded you that they were a football team.
And they got
I
beat the
mean,
next week.
a school. It's funny
It
how
was
that
amazing.
happens. You
It
know.
is. And when looking at Carolina, as you said, I'm a huge Carolina fan. But I felt like Carolina had some weaknesses from the big side because it was so young. But I thought they had done an excellent job. I really think Roy Williams and his staff and the team had done a great job of covering up that weakness and being able to kind of do a little smoke and mirror and hit a lot of those outside jump shots. But against Texas, once again, they were not hitting that outside jumper, and they could that negated the opportunity to fight those boys inside because those two bigs inside of Texas A&M just ate them up. They couldn't stop those kids. And interesting listening to Roy Williams, the head coach for Carolina, afterwards, he mentioned the fact that yeah, we knew what we were facing. We were not, we were aware of those guys, but they thought they could offset that by shooting that outside three, but they weren't hitting the threes. And when you're not making your shot, and then you got those, and the bigs inside were doing the best they could. They're young kids, they're freshmen, and here you got two seasoned ball players, two big guys, and I mean they manhandle them down there, and not making the shot made it even more difficult. I didn't expect them to get beat. I really thought we'd get past that, and definitely we wouldn't lose by 21 points. I just didn't think that, but I could tell in the second half when the first 4 minutes when we weren't hitting that shot in the second half, I thought we in trouble. We in deep trouble. Then Texas A&M go right out the next week and get beat by 30 some points. So that's what makes
Yeah.
March Madness so much fun.
Yeah.
And,
And
and
the and then the same thing too, because I was like, well, Texas Tech is kind of known more of a
mhm,
football school, and then they started acting like a football school. So it's just interesting.
it is.
Now
Yeah.
let's go to the 11th seed, Loyola,
Okay. Amazing.
Chicago,
Amazing.
right?
I mean,
Now,
absolutely amazing.
well, let me tell you what though, Vince. Let me tell you what really ticks me off, and I think that we had this conversation, man. I hate I hate it. When I say I hate it, I hate when I hear these sports announcers, or I hate when I hear people talk about when all of a sudden somebody's in the playoff, uh, whether it's football or basketball or whatever it is, and it's not a known school. And the last I checked, sports is supposed to be about competition. And it's so
Absolutely.
disrespectful for all those
Mhm.
times and hours that an athlete put put in the sweat and the hard work and do the same thing that all the other athletes do from the big name schools. They go out, did nobody give them anything. They beat the teams in front of them. I don't care who it is. And then they complain about them being where they are. That makes no sense. It is so disrespectful. You know, it's just disrespectful. It's crazy. You know, you go and you work hard, you kick their butt, you go out and you practice just as hard, you sweat just as much, and then you got to complain about the fact that they, you know, in the Final Four? And that's not the first time. It happens all the time. They talk about ratings, this and that. Well, is it about the competition, or is everything really about the money?
Well, I think it fundamentally comes down to be about money as well. But I think the rating system, and they've been dealing with this now for a number of years, and particularly the last few years. I don't know if it seems to be so very difficult. I think the point that you make is you take your bigger schools, the Dukes, the Carolinas, the Michigans, now what they're dealing with is the one and done situation. You got a lot of one and done athletes coming through. But here's a school like your Loyola Chicago, 4-year athletes, guys coming in, putting in the same amount of time, same effort, same purpose. And that's what the coach had said after one of their first wins, is that these kids have been working hard. They know no one believed in them. They knew that they were off everybody's radar. And what they were going to do is get on the radar by going out and doing what they do every day. So to your point, I think that's a misnomer that we forget that basketball, the principle of basketball is the same at any level, Division 1, 2, and 3. And it's about competing. It's about being prepared to play and going out and executing your game plan and playing good defense. I don't care what level you play at. When you do that, you get results. They just prove that. They're proving that now. I think having Sister Jane, the lady, having her didn't help. I mean, that doesn't hurt at all. Having her, but still, I mean, you can tell the way the kids play. They're having fun. They're supporting each other, and they're putting a heck of an effort on the floor. So I don't think that, and I think one of the things that happens too, because they're not in major markets. A major market, they're not being seen a lot. So maybe nationwide they're surprised, but I guarantee you in their market, people knew about them and knew what they had. And I think it's not necessarily a shock, but it's an exuberation that they're there. They're proving to every school you do it right. You do it the right way. You come in, you practice hard, you stay committed, you work together, you get out there and you get it done. That's what I see them doing.
Right. Well, I wanted to, you don't know this, but we're going to come back to that. But we just added a feature to the show.
Okay.
Okay. The feature is called a 3-minute wind sprint. Right.
Okay.
So we want you to do a 3-minute wind sprint. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw out some questions. All right.
Okay.
And we're going to try to get through it in 3 minutes. And so you kind of give like a yes or no, one answer. I mean, one, short as possible.
Okay.
If you can.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Biggest surprise for March Madness for you?
The 16 over 1. 16
okay.
over
Who
1.
will win the Final Four?
Villanova.
Villanova. Okay. Should the NCAA pay players?
No.
Nope. Okay.
No.
Will Beckman be a Giant next year?
Yes.
Yeah. Will the Cowboys make the playoff next season?
Yes, they will.
You know why I'm laughing. Okay. Will Manziel be in the NFL next season?
No.
Nope. Okay. Were you surprised Richard Sherman went to the 49ers?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Will LeBron make it 8 straight trips to the finals?
I don't think so.
Okay. Kirk Cousins, Casey Keenum, Sam Bradford, Teddy Bridgewater. Which one of those four you think will have the better season out of them going to different teams next year?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. Okay. Will Seattle make the playoffs next year?
No.
Okay. Do you watch Major League Baseball? Because it's getting ready to kick off the season.
Not that much.
Will Houston get past Golden State?
No.
Okay. Will Vince Carter Jr. be a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
We talked about that about two or three years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Should the NBA try to get more players out of high school to go into the D League?
I have a question about it. Okay, I'm gonna try to get. I only got a couple of seconds. I'm gonna say yes.
Oh, okay. We can talk about it more. This is just for the sprint. Okay.
Okay.
Were you surprised about the hiring and the firing at Memphis State?
Yes.
Okay. Will the NFL ever get the catch rule right?
I think they just did.
Did
I
they?
think the new ruling that they put in, I think they got it right.
Oh, okay. Question for you. Last question, really. With the signing of Bennett in Philly, will that make the Eagles a better team?
Yes.
Yeah, really? Okay. There you go. We got through all of them and bam, just like that. We'll see. That's the 3-minute sprint.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, so you want to talk about the what was that? Oh, about the D League.
Yeah, I think a lot of these kids that are coming out, I think it would be good for them to have a preparatory type activity. Now, if you remember, LeVar Ball was talking about creating a league for those kids who come out of school who are not really ready to go to NBA but don't want to go to college.
Right.
Now, I'm going to question it, but the concept makes sense, and I think the D League would probably be a great learning tool for that kid, because if he really doesn't want to go to school and he's just going to school just to jump to the NBA, why not put him in quote like a minor leagues like they do in baseball? Is give this kid an opportunity to see what he really has and give him a chance to hone his skills and find out what he's really about, rather than going to school and take up time on another school program where a kid who really deserves more time, you're taking his spot when you just 1 year and you're going to leave. So I think it would help a lot. It would improve the skill level of ball players coming into the league now, because a lot of those kids aren't skilled. A lot of them surprisingly don't know the game very well. This would give them a chance to get into that environment, associate themselves with playing professional basketball at another level other than what they know, groom them and get them, and then an opportunity to get picked up from there. So I kind of support that idea if it's structured correctly. I want to make sure it's structured correctly, good teaching, and give them the opportunity to play ball and see what they have.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you, how well? I mean, do you follow college girls basketball?
I try to keep up with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows the success of Connecticut.
UConn. Yes. Yeah.
Did you see that game last year against Mississippi State?
Absolutely. I certainly did.
Did you?
I did.
Oh,
did.
Was that not a great game? Did they not? Because you know what happened the year before, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got beat by 64 points.
Yeah.
So it was the way that it felt like the whole season for them was for that game. And it's like they were so focused and so determined because of the embarrassment that it was It was great. And Vince, that's what I mean about sport. I don't have to sit here and tell you what sports is supposed to be about in the competition. So I don't get this thing why they complain about when a team go out and earn what they worked hard at. That is so weird to me. I don't get that.
Well, and I'm not defending them by any means because I agree with you 100%. I just think they just cut off guard. They don't expect, because like one of the things you look at when they see 64, they talk about the level of competition. Well, Chicago, Loyola Chicago, does not have the same opportunity as Duke have to play some of the schools that Duke play. They don't have the same opportunity to recruit the same kind of athlete that Duke get, or Kentucky. So but it doesn't mean they're not playing good solid basketball. Because I watched some Division III basketball the other night, a championship game, or the game takes place tonight, I think it is, or maybe I missed it already. But that was some good basketball. That was some very good basketball. So you got great athletes, very skilled athletes, all three division levels playing some really good basketball. So it's not surprising.
But Vince,
I mean, it shouldn't be surprising.
But this is the deal. I guarantee you that if you go to any player in the NBA and say, tell me one of your best players that you know that you played against, they're going to tell you somebody that's not in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Right. They're going to make reference to somebody that they played with coming up. But there are so many good players that don't make it to Duke. There are so many good players that don't make it to North Carolina because of grades and other situations. And so if they go somewhere else and play, that don't mean that they're not great. Because they don't, they may not have the school. They may have to go to a junior college. They may have to go to a Division I because they don't have the grades, or they don't have that whatever it is to take for them to be on that level in the sense of the mindset and the discipline. But as far as basketball skills, come on.
Well, this comes down to very simply, it comes down to being recruited. A lot of on the AAU circuit out there, which that's a whole another conversation. But just take on the AAU circuit and the EBY was it ELBA, that upper level that plays like in Atlanta, the Peach Jam and those are two separate different kinds of athletes. And when I played in a tournament in Atlanta where all your major college coaches were there, up to my head coaches, they weren't sending their head coaches were there to look at 4 or 5 kids. Now they saw maybe 300-400 kids in that gym, different teams playing, but they came to see 4 or 5 kids. 4 or 5 kids, the only kids they wanted to see. And that's the difference is when a kid is playing at a high level and they know about it, see that kid. Now, do they actually see somebody else? Yeah. But you also got to look at sometimes what that coach is looking for. How much time does he want to spend developing that kid? Some programs can wait and say, we'll take him and we'll develop him. Others say, he's got to be at a certain level when he gets here, or I can't have him. So that's a disadvantage for the kid, not to mention economics, the marketplace that he might be coming from, all of those things. But that's not the kid's fault. If he can put the ball in the hole, somebody's going to find him and want to play on that team. And so it's opportunity. Calipari go out there and get what he had 5 freshmen on the floor this year at Kentucky. And all of them going to try to go to the NBA maybe, and then he's going to get 5 more. He's going to get 5 or 6 more next year. Well, look, Duke's losing 2 to 3 players, one and done's walking out the door. But they got 4 or 5 kids. They got 6 kids coming in next year. Carolina, we don't have any one and done from this year, but we're getting rid of 2 real prominent seniors, but we're picking up 4 more players. Where are they getting these kids from? The coaches are going out and recruiting that particular kid. What I challenge the young athlete is to get yourself in a position where people can see you and your skill level. And it's not always about how well you play, but it's about attitude, behavior, how well you fit into a team, whether you play offense or defense or your flexibility. You got to be prepared because there's so many opportunities out there. From JUCO to Division III, 2, doesn't matter where you play. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to be a Division I player, but not everybody is a Division I player, especially a high D1. You might be mid or you might be lower, and you might be too. I could care less as long. We got two kids from my program. Got a kid out of California playing Division III ball, leading them in scoring. He went out there. He went to that school because of the academics, not because of the basketball program. Because
Hmm.
he wants to study film. So the school of Los Angeles study has what he wants. So he's doing. Got another kid just going up into Wisconsin, Indiana. It was academics. He just happened to be a basketball player. But what? Either one of them Division I players? No, but are they good basketball players? Yes, they are. So it's just a matter of, and I think a lot of parents sometimes got to sit down and think about what's best for my kids. Sometimes they put the sport before they put the academics. I think you
Well,
need to look at
yes,
the academics and say, let's
definitely.
look at this. Now here's what you run into sometimes. Is what I'm finding now. It's not new, but I've been privy to a couple of kids going to the end because they couldn't make it as students. They got into these high profile schools. They were able to get in or got attracted, but they couldn't make it. So what they do, the season's over, and rather than fail, they try to jump to the NBA. But the statistics that you don't hear is the number of one and dones that don't make it. Where are they? A lot of them are either playing overseas ball, which is not a bad thing, or they're playing G League ball or whatever. And I'm not saying that's bad, but could you have stayed one more year maybe and become even a better ball player? Maybe you played 3 years and then go, or even stay four and get out. So I think sometimes the decision to jump to me is what I struggle with. Is why are you leaving? But are you really ready? Now Marvin Bagley from Duke, everybody say he's ready to play. I'm not sure about that. I think the kid that had a great 1 year at Duke, he was the monster, but he's going against grown men now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that game changes. Pace changes, the speed of the game, the physicality of the game, the excellent the basketball IQ. Is he ready? Well, we'll see. He thinks so, and okay, fine. As opposed to a Grayson Allen, which I'm not a big fan of, but he stayed all 4 years in order to prepare himself for what I think he'll probably try to go as well. Which I don't think he's a great athlete, but I think he's a functional athlete, and I'm probably
Yeah,
being,
they had him. I saw that they had him going high in the second round. He's listed to go high in the second round.
which is probably right. Which is probably right. That's probably right because his position and what he does. There are several guys that do it equally as well, if not better. Because he's in the form of a JJ Redick, and JJ Redick was although I think he's a little bit more physical than JJ. He's a little bit more athletic, and he certainly shoots the ball reasonably. He started shooting the ball well. Defensively, he was a liability. JJ Redick was played no defense at all. He just flat shoot the basketball. So my point, I mean, he just shoot the ball. But the point being is that there's so many other opportunities out there that I think parents need to sit and look at. What's best, or when you tell this kid to get out of there, get one and done, you really got to look real hard at that because I know a couple of athletes that have gone out there and they've said to them, you really shouldn't come. You're really not ready yet. But because they're, for whatever be the reason, they go ahead and go. Well, I know two of them right now. They're in the D League, and I haven't heard anything from them. I get I see a little blurb on them every now and then, where if they could have stayed in school, got another year. In fact, that's what one NBA told the kids: you need to stay one more year. But the kid came out anyway. So it's a give and take situation, but it's so much basketball out there, so much basketball being played that I think it's opportunity for everybody if you just be realistic in your dream. Be realistic with your dream. A lot of these kids want to play D1, but you're not a D1 ball player. Look at your Final Four. And I told a kid the other day, look at the Final Four teams. Can you make one of those teams? Could you make one of those teams? Probably not. You're not going to make it. You wouldn't even be on the roster. So what's wrong with Division II or Division III? As long as you play ball and get an education.
Well, and then the funny thing is for the 16 seed that beat
Virginia,
Villanova, I meant that beat
Virginia,
Virginia.
Virginia. Mhm.
The only reason they lost that game that they lost was that they just didn't hit open shots that game. That's the only
Well,
reason that they
now,
lost that game.
now, now that comes down to a basketball situation. I can tell you with our team, there were two games that we lost last year in the Elite Eight against a team that was one heck of a basketball team. There's no question about it, but we had them by the neck, but we couldn't make shots. And that's what allowed them to get away from us. We could not make the shots that we normally make,
Right.
we weren't making.
Right.
And so that changes the game. This year in the regional finals, the shot that we normally make, we weren't making it. So it makes it difficult. Yeah, can you overcome that? Sure you can. But when that's your primary weapon and it's not working for you, it's a heck of an adjustment to make. And sometimes you make it and sometimes you don't. I'm not making my shots, but he's making all of his. So that means I go down and shoot. I get one shot. He comes down and make a shot. I go down and I get one shot and miss. He comes down and make a shot. Well, whether it's two or three, I'm already behind. So it's hard when you're not making your shots. And that's just basketball. That has nothing to do.
Right.
You have
Right.
bad days. You have bad
Well, that's why I said that, because on that night, because on the night that they beat Virginia, they was making shots. Now,
shots.
Now, if they had been making shots like that, the game that they lost, they would have won that game. But they were not making shots.
Yeah, all probability.
And the reason why I say that it was because they were in the game. They were not being. It wasn't a game in which they didn't look like they wasn't supposed to be there. Is what I'm trying to say. That night, that day, they were just not making shots.
You look at Carolina, defending champion from when we played against Texas, we weren't making shots. We flat out could not make a shot. The shot that we depended on in order to make the difference in the game, to draw them out, to make them come from under that basket. So and they were beating us on the boards. They were beating us in transition because we were not off of our shot. We were not able to get our shot and do what we do. That happens. That happens one night. You take, for instance, that Duke Kansas game. That Duke Kansas game was a heck of a basketball game. It was a heck of a game. And it went into overtime. It's a really good basketball play there, but what it came down to, missing shots, missing free throws that everybody talks about, and missing some key shots on the floor. That's the difference in the game. The rest of it is a hustle. The rest of it is how bad do you want?
I'm trying to think, I should have wrote it down. I'm trying to think, what I should have it in front of me. I'm trying to think. There was a top seed that, and I know I'm not going to think of it, and you probably won't remember it, but they lost because the player went to the line and missed 2 free throws. They were they were up by 1.
Right.
And then the player went to the line and missed the 2 free throws. And then the
Now that
other
happened
team
games.
came down and hit a 3. Right. But what I'm saying is, when you talk about that, the missed free throws, and how important it is, especially, all the free throws count. All of them count. But then in the last minute or so, they seem to be even more important.
Well, I've lost games when I go back and look at it and say, okay, what was one of the contributing factors? Well, maybe we didn't play well that night. Okay, maybe we didn't defend as well as we could have. But 90% of the time, you also look at your free throw and say, look, if I hadn't made a free throw, if I'd have made those 6 free throws, I'd have either been in the game, won the game, or tied the game. In a lot of cases, it comes down to missing those free throws. So you tell players all the time.
I'm gonna see if I can find that. Yeah, but with the NBA coming up, okay, it's interesting because right now there's a lot of injuries.
Yes.
Golden State. Kevin Love got hit in the mouth last night, and he's on concussion protocol. Because he's in the concussion protocol right now. Kyrie is out
for the Celtics.
Right, and so Steph Curry, Thompson with his I don't know what finger it is, but he got a broken something on surgery. He had to have surgery. Durant dealing with a rib, but he's supposed to be back. I think
Yeah,
in
he'll be
like a
fine.
day or two.
Draymond, I think Draymond is back too, if I'm not mistaken,
Right,
or
right,
he'll
right.
be
He
back.
was out, so it'll be interesting because I don't know. Houston look like they're ready though, Vince.
Yeah, they do, and Houston has a lot that they bring to the table. I got to be honest about that, but I just believe that they're going to be a formative opponent. Don't get me wrong. If they do go when they go up again, it's going to be a heck of a fight. But I think that the winning mentality of the Warriors, if they can hold on and play their game and again, they're going to have to hit shots because that's what they do. They're not an inside game per se. They're more deep. They're defensive minded. I think they play darn good defense. But are they going to be able to match up with Chris Paul uh, uh,
Harden,
the other guy, the other Harden,
Harden.
and with a Harden play without having Steph as an equalizer? They might go down and hit a shot. Steph come down hit one, Clay come down hit one. Now you got the. It's going to be interesting to see how healthy they are going in. How
But see,
healthy they are
Harden
going.
scares me. He
Why you
scares
say
me
that?
because in the playoffs, he does the Harden thing. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason, remember when Oklahoma and Miami played, when Miami and LeBron they won that first
Oh yeah,
championship.
yeah.
He was great the the games before they went to the championship. And the reason why
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma lost that series, he didn't show up not one game during that whole series. He didn't
Are you
show
talking about
up. He didn't show up at all.
when
And
LeBron was
then
playing
what
with?
happened to him last year and the year before in the playoffs. So it's like there's something
Now you talking
with
about
that
LeBron?
dribble, 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 dribble. You know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but you talking
So he
about LeBron
scares
now
me.
when he was with you talking about when he was with Oklahoma.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying when he was with Oklahoma, the reason why
Mhm.
they lost that series to Miami was because he never showed up. He didn't
Right.
show up the entire series. When
Right.
the series before that and before that, he was a monster.
Yeah. The only thing that helps him right now, he's got supporting cast. Because Paul can come in and do some things from that point guard position, and I think also a part of that, he's some of the pressure's taken off of him now. He's more free to do what he does without it having a major impact. When before point guard, he bring the ball down the floor. He's got to put the ball in the hole. He got to start the offense and all. Now you got Paul on the other side. It's kind of making balancing that thing out for him a little bit. So, but you're right. But the way he's playing right now is a little scary in that he's
Yeah.
playing at such a high level. And he's playing, and they're playing well. Now, I'm not a huge Dan Antonio fan. My thing with him is that they don't play any defense. They
Right.
put the ball in the hole, but they don't play any defense, and I think that's how they can get beat. But the one thing I will say now, you got to outscore them, though. You got to outscore them. They gonna put that ball in the hole. That's one
Right.
thing his brother was at Dan Antonio's brother was at Marshall. They lost the other night in the NIT. He was rode in, was it NIT? Yeah, they was in the NIT and they lost in the NIT. But I think that's going to be the difference. Uh, the turmoil and the change that you got going on in Cleveland is why I have a question mark. And I think Lou's not scheduled to be back. They play tomorrow night. I don't. He won't be there then. See, that's just a disruption of what you do. And anytime you got too much LeBron, the rest of the team gonna sit around and look. And I think what he's starting to do now, he's starting to feel like I got to take over and I got to get it done. I think one of the teams that a lot of people are excited about is Philadelphia. Now they
Hmm.
got their first round draft pick back. You got Embiid and then you got Simmons. I tell you, I hadn't been watching them very much, but I started watching them a little bit. They are exciting to look at now, and they play both ends of the floor. So it could be very, very interesting to see how that. Um, but I'm not sold on Cleveland yet. I'm really not sold on them yet. I'm just not buying it 100% yet. I got to see a little bit more yet for me to jump on board. I'm still going with with the Warriors for right now.
Yeah. Um, what the heck is going on in San Antonio? What I mean, what's I mean, What's up with that? I mean, what is that? I mean, what the heck is going on?
One of the things that confuses me is that they're trying to determine whether or not Kawhi Leonard should come back this season or just call it a wash and let him come back next. I understand both arguments. I think because they're based on where they're going to fall and how. Because I'm not sure what they look like right now. I don't forgot where they placed themselves. Is it worth him coming back now to help them, or should we just say, listen, just stay out and come back next year? And when we're fresh, we get started. And that's a tough question to answer. I don't know but I trust Pop a whole lot, but it seems like they oscillated back and forth. They're not sure what they want to do. But I think the concern is what's best for him and the team. Because chemistry gets in there too. He's been out of power. How's that going to fit? You know, how it going to fit. So I don't know really. To answer your question, a long way is I don't know. I understand what's going on with them either. There's some crazy stuff going on out there.
You think, as far as the women, you think Connecticut gonna win it this year?
From what I've seen, I thought the best chance for them to get beat was against South Carolina the other night, because they beat them the year before, and they beat them by 30-some points.
Right.
And I just right now it's hard to go against them guys. I mean, when they got beat by Mississippi, I think they got caught off guard. And one of the things Gino said is that they didn't. He's been complaining. And of course, they stepped it up since then about how they've been playing. They've been winning, but they don't have that thing that he's looking for. Now against South Carolina, they came out to play. Got to go with them. I mean, he's got some of the best talent there is. You kind of got to go with him for right now. I can't see going against him. I really can't.
What do you think set them above everybody else?
Recruiting. He gets the best of the best. And not one or two players, he gets 5 or 6 of those players. And he talked about that one day. And when he was talking about how he challenges his players and what he can do to perhaps the guy down the next scoop, he one of his Division I players, top recruits, that if you don't, I'm going to sit you down. Because he got another one sitting on the bench that wants to play more anyway, so they're going to take your minutes. He said, now everybody can't do that because you can't sit down one of your starting 5 and bring somebody off the bench and try to fill in for that, where he has 7 starters on the bench. So if I don't like what you're doing, I can sit you down, bring somebody else. He recruits the heck, and the team recruits itself. Former players recruit. It's all about recruitment. I do think he coaches well. I wasn't giving him credit for coaching, but he actually does some coaching. But he's got tremendous talent. Tremendous talent. And he gets the best of the best out there. And not one player, he gets 6 of them at a time, however many he gets. So I think it seemed like to me he gets a whole team. But you don't, and all those girls seem to stay there and they get better over each year. So you get 4-year starters. When you got a mature team like that, it's hard to beat them. They've been through everything. And one of the things that he said, a championship for them is every night because everybody's coming at them. So they got to be on top of their game every single night. And he tells them when he recruits them, if that's not the kind of game you want to play, you're not going to play your best every night, then it's not school for you. Because every time you come on the floor, it's a championship game because everybody want to beat you.
Well,
so
yeah,
I think he gets the best.
Well,
and they play.
Well, and I've seen a series on him, and he's tough. And the players talk about how tough he is. And
but then nobody leaves though.
Right. Yeah. But then what does that say about his recruiting? What does that say about that?
That kid that comes knows what she's up against. And she wants that because I believe, and there has been much conversation, and I've seen it for myself. Your best player wants to be challenged. He wants a coach that's going to challenge him, going to tell him when he's right, going to tell him or her when they're right and when they're wrong. Going to say to them, you did well today, or they're going to tell them you stink. You stink. You got to get better. I mean, when I found it, when kids accept that challenge, they want that challenge. They're hungry for it. So whatever he's saying, they're eating it all up. They're all over it because he's proven that if you do what I ask you to do, you'll bring me your best game, we'll win. So his recruitment when he walks in the door is very little recruitment. That kid's already decided I want to play. I just want to meet you, and I want to hear you say you want me, and I'm gone. So it's got to be the best recruiting job, the easiest recruiting job there is, because he's winning. I mean, what is he 30, 36 and 0 now or something like that?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Oh,
how could you not want to play there? I don't care how hard he is.
well, it's. I mean, you whether you hate them or love them, you have to tip your hat,
You have to, yeah, without a,
because they are a winning. I mean,
they
they're a
get it.
winning school. You
And
know.
one of the things I like about what they do too, I mean, they're playing basketball. This is not just run gun. They can play any style you want to play. You want to slow it down, they can play half court offense, and they play good defense. You want to pick it up and run, they can do that too. That's good coaching. Yeah,
Right. No.
and number two, that's good athletes too. They're darn good athletes too. That's some good athletes. I mean, I might be able to win if I had those kind of athletes.
have Have you been watching the NIT at all?
I have. I've had the pleasure for the last 2 years, 3 years to play at Western Kentucky in their summer camp. So I kind of got to know the head coach up there and some of the players. Middle Tennessee, when they were in earlier, I got a chance to know those guys. So it kind of made me feel like I knew who I was looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Really excited for Western, although they lost the other night. I have been
Right.
watching them. Because I like watching those guys. Some of those guys are trying to prove a point, like Louisville wanted to prove that hey, y'all didn't pick us, but we should have been in the NCAA, but we're gonna do our thing over here. They got knocked off, but still, I thought they played well. I was surprised they didn't keep the coach. I was really
Well,
surprised
yeah,
they didn't.
because I mean, I was going to ask you about Xavier coach going to Louisville and the assistant from Duke going to Pitt.
Well, now Cables, Jeff used to be. He coached Blake Griffin and his Blake's brother down in Oklahoma, and he was
Okay.
at VCU for a while also, and Old Dominion with his dad. I had a pleasure of meeting his dad. His dad was coaching in the NBA. He coached high school, college, and then he coached in the NBA with the Hornets for a while. He had been offered a job at Arizona a couple of years ago, and he didn't take it. I thought he was waiting for Coach K to, because he was associate head coach, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought that maybe he was holding out. But I think I read today where the opportunity came, and he jumped on. He went and sat down with K, and he moved on. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to Kevin Stallings too from Pittsburgh, who they fired, who was also at Vanderbilt, and I find that interesting. And I think what happened for the guy leaving Xavier, you go into a bigger school, a high profile school. That was a great move for him. Bigger salary, more exposure. One of those high profile schools. It's as good as it is bad because you're not winning. Everybody's gonna see it. If you're winning, it's a high profile. The young man from Rhode Island went to UConn, Kevin Ollie's job. So I tell you what I was excited about to see Tubby Smith, who got fired from Memphis and went back to his college, his alum, where he's an alum at High Point College. He's going to be the head coach there. And I saw the other day, also today, Penny's welcome to the Memphis situation. He's a former player, and all of the above. I just didn't like the way they handle. I didn't like the way they handled Tubby, but
Right.
I can't hold any animosity against me. You make the call, but Tubby's got a job, and that's what I'm excited about.
So
Even
where is
he
he now?
High Point College.
Okay.
It's Division One out of High Point, North Carolina, around up in that area.
Well, I mean,
Charlotte, I think.
yeah, I mean, but somebody with his credentials not going to be out of a job long. I mean, he's
No, and he graduated. He played ball there, and he graduated from there. So he's kind of like going back. They went right after him, and called him in. So he's got a job. Hurley, who left Rhode Island and went to UConn, which I thought he helped because he was offered the Pittsburgh job. They were really after him, and he kind of delayed because I think he wanted to go to UConn. And so they got him over there, and then of course Cable was able to step into Pittsburgh. So, and the interesting thing about Pittsburgh's in the ACC, so that means he's gonna probably end up playing against Duke.
Okay.
He'll end up playing against Duke, capable to play against his mentor.
Okay. Now, let me switch gears on you real quick before we get out of here, because I early asked you about the Cowboys whether or not they're gonna make the playoffs. But
Cowboys,
my huh?
I said, my Cowboys, I believe we are. I like some of the stuff that we're doing. I'm a little bit confused by some of the stuff that we're doing as well, but that we're trying to fill our gaps. The biggest problem
Oh,
we got right now with Dez, we got to work with Dez. I mean,
oh,
what?
I didn't tell you this, but a couple of weeks ago, there was a video that were made,
Mhm.
and it closed out on I think it was trying to how to cook collard greens in a pressure cooker. Okay,
Mhm.
so
Mhm. That was you.
well, no,
Wasn't
no,
that
no,
you?
no. What you saw was me cutting up collard greens that I grew from the backyard.
Okay.
Okay, that's the
Okay.
video that you saw, but there was another one that showed how to cook the collard greens in the
Oh, okay.
pressure cooker. But you didn't see the end of that video because there was something that was closed out that was for you. And if I can have her bring that shirt in that she wanted to make reference to, I don't know if she can bring it in, but there was a shirt at the end of that video that was said to Vince Carter, and by the way, I want you to see my shirt. So I don't know if the shirt's available. I'm saying it out loud, hoping that the shirt would come in. But at
It
the
must be a
end
finisher.
of the video of how to cook collard greens in a pressure cooker, the shirt she had on this shirt. Can you see the shirt?
I figured that's what it was. Yeah, Super Bowl champ. Tell Fran I would accept that from her. I would accept that for her. I would accept that. I accept that from Fran. I 100% applaud you. 100%.
But my question that I wanted to ask you, with all the moves that's being made in the off season, who are you going to be looking out for other than your Cowboys? I mean, I think Philly may be a little better,
It's going to be stronger. They're going to
right?
be a
But
contender. Yes.
do you think Foles going to be there at the end of the season?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm not sure right now. I need to. I really am not ready to make an informed decision on that. But my early thoughts are no, he won't. He won't be there. Now you got to
Right.
look at Gruden. Gruden's out there. What in? Where does Gruden go to? L.A. He went to
Right.
the Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah, he's got some interesting
Oakland.
stuff going on out there that may turn out to be very interesting. Um, how they play. Oftentimes wonder, did he make a mistake by coming out of the booth? Why not stay in the booth? Because he was doing an excellent job. I guess he got that
No, no,
coaching
no, no,
fever.
Vince. Don't even talk about him making a mistake to come out of the booth. Look at that contract they gave him. Do you know how many booths that I would come out of if they want to give
Yeah,
me that kind of contract? Really?
I'm not saying that it was a decision. I mean, the money makes it, but I just wonder overall. He's got to build, and if they're gonna pay him that kind of money, hopefully they're gonna give him time to build because he's got some building to do right there. He's got to get his kind of his kind of football on the field, and I don't think he's gonna be able to do that in 1 year.
See, I think he got a 10-year deal, right? Didn't he get a 10-year deal?
Yeah, he's got 10 years.
Okay,
He got 10
I
years on paper.
predict he gonna be there 5 years before they get rid of him.
That's kind of my prediction too. I don't know if he'll be there 10 years. I think now if he has any success at all within that 5 years, then he'll 10. But I just think it's going to take him almost 5 years to build what he wants because of contracts, caps, draft picks, trades, all the other stuff. It's going to take him a minute, and that's what's going to be the challenge. I think is to
Well,
put
see,
that
that's the
together.
problem because no matter where you go, it's a win now. It's a win
Yeah.
now. So
I don't know if they got enough to win now. I think they got enough to
Well, that's my
compete.
point.
Yeah, they got enough to compete now. And the Cowboys have got to come up with, they got to get in the playoffs, or they're gonna have to come back and dismantle that bad boy because well, Jason Garrett would be in trouble without a shadow of a doubt.
Well,
Jason,
no, they
he
need to stop letting Jerry Jones make decisions, is what it is.
unfortunately that's not gonna happen because he puts his nose in places he shouldn't be, and I
Well,
think he
that,
is the best mess the Cowboys up anyway. If
yeah.
he left the Cowboys alone, we'd have been much further along as a competitor than we would with him because he wants to be coach, he wants to be general manager, he wants to be the owner, he wants to be everything. Just go sit down and check your checking account every now and then and let people be. He messes us up with all this crazy stuff he wants to do. But hopefully, some of the moves they've been making, it seems like they're trying to fill some gaps. I'm interested to see what it looks like, and what it's going to really look like for us. Because I think we got to do something. We got to do something early. We got to really come out and get something done this year.
So let me ask the question again. Who do you think will be the surprise team next season in the NFL other than the Cowboys and Philly? We already know that Philly is going to be good. We already know that your Cowboys is going to make the playoffs. Haha.
They're gonna make the
So
playoffs.
other than that,
We gonna.
who,
I don't. You know, right now, Charles, I'm kind of got a lot of question marks out there in my head right now, because I mean, I guess once they finish making some of these moves, I might be in a better position right now. Right now, I kind of got to. Those are my two favorites right now. The 49ers are going to be interesting, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete. They talk about Washington. I never want Washington to win nothing, not even a scrimmage game. So I'm not a Red fan by any means. The Giants are in trouble. You got to look at them New England Patriots. You know, you got to look at them Patriots. Uh, you got to look at them. You can't scrub them out yet.
we
So you
gonna
got
have
to
a
put them in.
discussion. I mean, we've talked about them before, but next week we gonna have a discussion about them because
Hmm.
I still I don't see what other people see. It just I don't know. I don't know because I think the Patriots are great because they're the Patriots in the sense of the whole team concept,
Hmm.
and they they don't give enough credit to the team itself. That's what make the
Hmm.
Patriots great because when they beat the Falcons last year, it wasn't nothing but that defense that made big plays to put them in the
Right.
position to win, but they
Right.
don't talk about that the way that they should. That team is well coached from top to bottom, and they do things consistently from a team
Hmm.
concept. But the
Hmm.
way we are, we always talk about the quarterback play, and I still say Tom Brady is good, but nobody talks about the fact that that offensive line gives him time to throw the ball. When somebody's in his face, he's in trouble. But
Hmm.
nobody emphasized the time that offensive line gives him to make plays. That's the key to that team.
Well, I agree with you. I think a lot of times what they I do think 100% is the team concept is what they preach. Is the way they approach it. But Brady gets all of the hoopla. Yes, I do without a shadow of a doubt. He's done some great things, but he could not do that because he doesn't. He's not a pocket. He doesn't come out of the pocket. He doesn't run the ball well. He's a pocket quarterback. They give him enough time, and from that pocket, he's a deadly individual. Now, for his passes to be completed, they must be thrown correctly. The routes must be run, and guys got to catch them.
Well, yeah,
And that's a
but
team effort.
okay. This is what I wanted to talk about, and I asked you this, and I think I'd asked you this here before. In that Super Bowl that they just lost,
Mm-hmm.
if you put the average quarterback in that same position, in that same game, with the same routes of being running, because what my point of it is, there was not one throw that you saw Brady make that you went like, wow, that was a great throw by, in the sense of talent, arm strength, and whatever?
No,
He
no,
was hitting guys that were open, and I'm not
right.
taking any way of from him. My point of it is that because of the offensive line, he got time to throw the ball. The guys are open. So what is it that he was doing that was so great that the average quarterback couldn't do when you got time to throw the ball and guys are open?
Well, I think what everybody's trying to say is his level of consistency is based on team performance. Guys run great routes. They catch the ball when it's thrown to them,
Right.
but he
I'm
also
not taking
like
away it. I mean, I'm not trying to take it away from him,
no.
but I'm talking about what I see in the sense of he got time to throw the ball. The guys are open.
No,
There's no great
that
throws in the sense of what's being done. It's the average quarterback throwing the ball to an open receiver. That's
I
all
think
I'm saying.
the biggest difference that you have there with them, in that is a matter of consistency. They know each other so well that he
Right.
knows he reads his progression, his read progressions were very good. But I give him that because they've been at it so long. They've been
Right.
working together, and not it. That's something. A quarterback with the amount of experience that he is doing what is expected of him. I agree. It's not that outstanding. It's just it's at that level, that time, and he's that kind of a ball player. That's what you should be doing. You know, he reads the field well. He's had a good experience at that, good teaching, and what you're seeing is the benefit of his time on the field.
Right.
I do believe, like you said, there's some other quarterbacks could do that if they had all of those dynamics lined up the way his dynamics are lined up. So, but it's a team concept. It's not that great quarterback. He's a
Right.
good quarterback, and
Right.
he delivers when he's supposed to deliver, and they run and they're there to catch it. So it's the whole package in one.
Right.
Great team effort. Great team
It,
effort. That's what it is.
Exactly, and that's why I will always pick Montana over him, because I've seen what happens. And if you are a Cowboy fan, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because in 1981, I'm sitting there rooting for those darn Cowboys, and every time that doomsday defense where I thought they had Montana, he pulled a Joe Montana, because if that was Brady in that game, the
Brady
Cowboys
can't
would have
run.
won. No
Yeah, Brady
hands
can't run.
down, it wouldn't even be close, because every time they got ready to do this right here to Joe Montana with he did the Joe Montana thing,
Well,
and I'm sitting there going,
but
you almost had him again, and he
but that
evaded, made plays, and did what Joe Montana does.
but that was a difference. That's the difference in the way the teams are built. The Patriots are not built to run. The pocket doesn't
No,
move.
no, 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 no,
The
no, no,
pocket,
no, no. I'm talking
pocket
about
is.
when the defense collapsed on you, Vince. That's what I'm
But what
talking
I'm
about.
saying
I'm
is
talking
that
about Dallas had a good defense. And every
they
time
did.
that defense, what I'm trying to say is, because of that defense and how good Dallas was, if that had been Brady and his skills, that would have been the advantage to Dallas.
Saying
But because of
that's what
Montana and his skills, right when you thought
that's
the
the difference.
defense had him, he did Joe Montana. So that's all I'm
But
saying.
that's the difference. That the way the Patriots are, they're not built that way. So if what he would tend to do, what Brady would have done, would have you thrown the ball out of bounds, or sat down and taking or try to run the ball, where Montana can run out the pocket and make a play. Brady's not going to do that. He doesn't do that very well. And so they built that offense to say, okay, what we're going to do is give him time to throw. So we're gonna put all our money on the offensive line to give him time to. Bill Walsh had one of the best offensive schemes for the number of years that he was playing, and they had where Montana could roll out because he knew he was effective. When he threw that thing to Dwight Clark and we missed it by a fingertip for a touchdown, that was pure Montana on the
Right.
run, knowing where his receiver was, and the guy caught the ball. I mean, now would Brady have done that? Nah, I don't think so, because he doesn't run well. But
Well,
that's the way they did. He's not a
well, my
running
whole point
quarterback.
of it was that I'm sitting up there, and Dallas had a great defense, and every time he was they had him, but all of a sudden he was
That's great quarterbacking. I mean,
right.
I was disappointed. I thought we had him too. I thought we had him pinned down, but We let him get away, and he threw one heck of
And
a
see,
pass.
I don't mean to take anything away from Brady. I'm just going by what my eyes have seen. I'm talking about the
Oh
game
yeah,
itself because they sit there and I'm telling you, he's that offensive line gives him time to throw the ball, and
that's true.
that's all the
That's
difference in the world,
and their
And
run
I'm
game
not
is not
taking
bad.
anything away from him, you know.
No,
But
the run. I mean, the way the team is built, he's the right guy for the team.
right,
The way they built the team, he's the right guy for it. Another quarterback. I think Belichick will either have to find another
but
quarterback that's a pocket quarterback, or they're gonna have to
but
change the way they do.
But the quarterback seems to do well when Brady goes down or something. When another quarterback and the quarterback, and actually, they set those quarterbacks up for other teams.
Well,
Those other quarterbacks that they have in there,
again,
they get
system.
paid.
It's the system. It's the system.
Right.
Brady. I mean, what's name has one heck of a system, and everybody work and they recruit and or draft. However, they get those player trade for those kind of guys that fit his system. That's what everybody's saying about Belichick. Is Belichick does a great job of finding his kind of player. He goes out and finds his kind of player. You say, well, I don't want this guy on my team anymore. I'm gonna cut him. He'll pick him up and say, you know what, we can use that because he fits in with what we want to do. As opposed to having that star cornerback, he's got a star defense where everybody's contributing. And as opposed to on this team, this guy is your number one corner. Yeah, well, and that's great too, but he gets that average guy, put him in a system and make him a fantastic ball player because he's a part of the whole. Well, I give him credit for that. He does a real good job of that. And I think that's what has caused people to think that Brady is even better than he actually is because of the system. But like you said, when he go down, the next guy come in, he looks almost as good. He may not be as polished as Brady because he hadn't taken as many snaps, but he understands the game. He reads progressions the same way, So that means that we've been spending a little bit of time with him. So I give Belichick that. I really have more respect for Belichick than I do for a quarterback. I'm
Right.
not as
Right.
impressed with quarterbacks.
Right.
Belichick's the one I'm most impressed with because he
Right.
gets it done. He has put together a system that makes that thing work. So I'm excited for him in that sense. I'm still not a Patriot fan, however, but I got to give him credit for that. Got to
Have
give
you
him credit
followed
for putting together.
any of the college quarterbacks coming out? Who is there any particular college quarterback that
No, I'm not excited about any of those guys right now. They all, everybody's hyping them all up. I'm playing the wait and see game. I don't have any preferences right now. College
Okay.
quarterbacks because they got these guys. While they look good in college, but when they get to that pro level, things change very quickly for them. So I think we'll see. I probably would have a better feel when we start preseason, start looking at who makes the team. Let me see what he looks like in live action because a lot of those guys will tell you that move from even Division I, high D1 college into the NFL is a whole different ball game. That game speeds up. Yeah, they disguise defenses and all that. So I I'm just waiting right now. I'm playing the waiting game for a minute.
Okay. Well, I know you need to get you some rest. And how long did they say that it'll be, for we can say full recovery?
Full recovery is going to take 6 months.
Okay.
For me to be back to quote unquote normal. But we're looking in the next couple of weeks, maybe more. My thing is being functional. Here's my biggest thing: is be able to drive. That's my biggest thing. Once I can drive, then I'm functional. Right now, I cannot drive, so that's a hindrance to me. But I'm more independent than I was before. I'm feeling good. I'm getting therapy is going very well, so I'm getting close. I'm getting very close to being functional.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so once I get functional, boy, look out, here I come. I missed 4 basketball games from my injury, so I'm hungry. I can't wait to get back in the gym, get back with the kids, because I missed them so much. I had a chance to go visit with them for a quick minute before surgery, but I haven't seen them since then. But I can't wait to get back in the gym and hear that ball hit that hardwood floor again.
All right. Well, I want to say, Vince, I was told that I have to put this up one more time. So I'm just saying. So I just have to put this up one
I
more time.
understand. I
Uh,
understand. I do understand. Because if I would, I'd have it on right now. I was. So I understand.
Yeah, so I was told I had to put it up one more time. So with that being said, and the thing is, they actually bar injuries, they got a pretty good chance to win it again next year.
They do. They really do. They look very strong, and barring injury or in picking up a couple of other players, they could be real tough next year. They're gonna be tough, no
Yeah, because
question about it.
actually I mean they had some injuries. They had some key people
Yeah.
out too.
So another case of a well-oiled machine that no one gave them credit for. They were really ready to play this game, and I don't think anybody
Oh, okay.
see it. You can see in their action the way they hit the field that hey, we ready to do this thing, and they wasted no time and jump right on. So I'm really looking. They're in the same division with us, but it's going to be tough because they're going to be ready to play.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say this different. I mean, I'm switching up on you,
Okay.
but I have seen a little something in Houston, and they got this. And they said it. They said their key focus is on Golden State. And when I even saw this when they were playing Golden State, they
Hmm.
would. I mean, the way that they was communicating to each other, and they were just so determined to say
Hmm.
that you need to be here, you need to do this, you need to do this, don't do this, and they was on each other. Like we are
Yeah.
not gonna lose this game to these guys. And I don't.
Well,
And I was watching, and I'm like, they are determined. So we gonna see.
well, that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, that's the big dog. That's the top of the heat. If you want to get on the top, you got to knock them off. And if you're not going in there and playing with that kind of intensity, then you shouldn't even be playing. And that's going to just go cause that team to play at a different level, which means that the Warriors going to have to raise their game, injury or not. You have to come to play too, which again should make for very interesting basketball.
All right. Okay. Cool. So is Harden your MVP this year?
Yeah, he's my early MVP right now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, appreciate it. Are you
Be
are
back.
you on
Be
any?
back. Thank you, buddy.
No, no. I was going to ask you. Are you on any pain pill? Because normally,
No,
when you take them, they make you go to sleep.
I don't. I experienced something different. Well, for me, I came out of surgery and they gave me what they call a pain catheter, and it was a very fine fishing wire that they had inserted into my thigh, and I had Novocaine, 600 milliliters of Novocaine that this pump automatically would dose me, and I had severe pain from the ride of surgery when I rode home to my surgery. But my ride from the hospital home in about 2 hours at home, I was in agonizing pain. After that, I had minimum pain. The only thing I took was that ibuprofen 600 and Bear aspirin. That's all I had. And that catheter lasted for 3 days.
Okay.
It's kind of new, and I'm telling you, it was amazing. I had almost no pain at all, and once it ran out, I was able to pull that right out, left no scar, and I've been on ibuprofen 600 and Bear aspirin. So they gave me a couple of real strong narcotics which I've taken. Now this whole entire episode. Now that's 600 um, Motrin I'm taking, or ibuprofen they call it. That's 600, and that's 600 put me to sleep. Any pain I have or anything like it knocks it out. But I haven't had, so I'm doing really well on that side of it.
Mm.
My
Okay.
biggest friend is ice. My biggest friend is ice. Keep my knee, keep my that whole area iced down each day from exercises that I do and any walking and whatever I do. Come and ice it down, and that's my biggest friend right now.
All right. I wanted to get this in, but you got to tune in. So I'm gonna play this, and then I'm going to close it out. But this is what's
Okay.
coming to the Journey 2020.
Hi, my name is Kathy Meeks. I am a marriage and family therapist and a board certified sex therapist. We will be discussing all things sexual. Whatever relationship issues that you're having, give us a call and we'll be glad to discuss it with you. You can join us the third Monday of every month at www.thejourney2020.com. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. Remember, 7 p.m. on the third Monday of every month.
Okay, Vince. So you know you got to join us, right?
I didn't see no number. I didn't see no phone number up there, so I didn't call.
That's going to be flashed during the show. That's going to be flashed during the show.
I'm okay with that. I will be tuning in on third Monday.
You know, I started, and actually, I called you this past Monday because I was trying to get you to come on. Yeah. I called you on Monday. It was the last minute, but I called you on Monday because you know what we was talking about? We was talking about Trump and Stormy. So,
Oh man, I'm sorry I missed that one. 'Cause I got a
hey,
lot of stuff.
Vince, what I told him was, for research purposes, I had to go research her.
Yeah, without a doubt. As a
Okay,
matter of fact,
but yeah,
I'm still,
I did call you on Monday to see if you were available to come on the show because we were talking
and I would have
about
loved part of that.
Trump, the Playboy Bunny, and we were talking about Stormy, and we wanted, I was asking the female guests some things about how they see themselves and the power and money. When you see a man, when he has money, how do you see yourself, and so on and so forth. But that's really what the show was about, you know. So, but there's a part two this coming week. There's part two coming up
Okay.
Monday. So if you get a chance to tune in,
Give me a call.
please.
Give me a call. Well, yeah, I definitely would try to tune in on that.
Okay.
'Cause
All right.
I find that that's an interesting topic, and I'd love to hear their response to it.
Oh, okay. Well, what I'll do is this past week, I will I'll put the show on your timeline
Okay.
on
Okay,
Facebook.
that'll be good.
And
Yep,
you make
yep,
sure
yeah,
for
'cause
those who watch on Facebook, you make sure you hit the like button. And if you go to us on YouTube, you make sure that you subscribe to the www.thejourney2020.com. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and also make sure you like us on Facebook. This is Mr. Vince Carter. We call him Coach Carter. He's the original Coach Carter. And we come your way every Wednesday at 11 p.m. And I can tell he's feeling a lot better because I've heard him on the phone and I'm like, I think Vince needs some drugs right now because he hurting.
I'm
But-
excited to be back with Avery.
Yes. So we're going to be back next week and we wishing you well. And I don't know how your bracket did this past week, where you are in the bracket, but we're looking forward to the Final Four. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more next week. So enjoy the rest of the week. You be blessed.